What's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. Really hope you ended up watching the video yesterday, because what a move. Not only did the trade that I called on Bitcoin ended up being an absolute banger, but if you followed me on Twitter, you would have also seen that I posted quite a few trades yesterday. Like, yesterday was one of the absolute best trading days for like this entire month, actually. So much money was made yesterday, and I really hope you were able to take advantage. By the way, Bitcoin is looking still very decent heading into today, and I'm going to break down today's trade. Before we get into it though, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Shwen. I make these trading calls every single day, and I have a 75% publicly documented win rate across the last year and a half, which, by the way, shout out to you, Senpai Games. Like, you've been watching for a few weeks consistently. You know, when you first heard the percentage win rate, you know, he's probably just talking nonsense. But however, I saw that he lost a few trades recently, and he has, like, I used to say like 78% win rate, but now I'm saying 75% win rate, which means he's more than likely telling the truth without going through every video to fact check, which is quite phenomenal. And yeah, this is just one of the core values that I have, which is, as much as possible, I want to be transparent with you guys. In an industry where everyone is hiding behind like cherry-picked screenshots, I try my best to not only share the trade before it happens, but also win or lose. Like, I'm very open about it. So senpai, arigato for noticing. Like, yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So let's just get into let's kick things off with the daily bias, because like that is very important. That will kind of determine what is the direction that we're going to be trading in today. And so far, that daily bias is looking bullish. Now, this is a little bit concerning, because once we go into the lower timeframes, we can see that, yeah, the majority of the price action today has been aggressively bearish. In fact, let me just remove the drawings so that we can, we'll be able to work with a clean chart. Actually, before I do, like, just a quick little mention to this second trade that we ended up taking yesterday, which is like, yeah, this was the official one that I ended up calling on X, because the initial one that I called within the video, basically, like, the moment I finished recording the video, like, I was in, and basically before the New York session even began, right, the first TP was already hit. So like, this was the momentum trade. Now, ultimately, this did not end up working out because we got stopped prior to price actually hitting TP. So in this case here, it's like, you don't need to get too caught up about it. So like, I use order blocks, and while they are a high probability concept, it doesn't mean that it's absolutely 100% win rate. So like, yeah, this is generally very positive EV, but just didn't end up playing out, which is fine. Now, you will see on the chart here that I have a second entry. Now, I'm going to walk you through this real quick, because I remember this was one of the core questions that I had yesterday, because I was doing a Blueprint live trading call where basically I was live trading alongside everyone else inside Blueprint, which, by the way, if you've been trading for a while and you feel like you know some pieces here and there, and you know some concepts here and there, but you don't have a complete picture, and if you would like to install my system, then feel free to click the first link in the description box below. Not only are you going to get access to the system, but we are going to work with you one-on-one every single step of the way, so that you are never, making a mistake at any point. And you basically get full access to us. And this is something that works, because close to 50% of the people that actually join the program end up getting funded, which, again, I'm very transparent about the fact that this is not a model that scales, because we are working with you one-on-one quite intensively, but it works. In a trading industry where it's so hard to come across, people that are actually willing and trying to help you succeed, like, I'm going to live with that. But with that out of the way though, like, just to get back to, this trade breakdown, and this was asked yesterday, basically during the Blueprint call, which at the time was around 9:40, right? So we ended up getting stopped out here live, but then at 9:40, we ended up getting a CISD towards the upside. And somebody was literally asking me, like, okay, do you take it here? Well, no, because you're outside of the kill zone, or at the very least, you're very close to the end of the kill zone. Secondly, your daily target has been hit. So just to explain the kill zone, basically, we want to be taking all of our trades between 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. New York, right? That's the New York kill zone. Obviously, if you're trading in the London kill zone, that's 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. But either way, the New York kill zone is 7 to 10. Usually, I like to give myself a little bit of leeway and say that, close to, like, when you're within like 15 minutes of the end of the kill zone, you want to take it easy, right? Ideally, you're not jumping into any other trades, especially when the liquidity level for the day has already been hit, right? So that was factor number 2. Factor number 3 that you guys can use to determine if you should continue hunting for a trade or not within the same day is this tool right here called ATR. Now, if you take a look at the average true range, this basically shows you the average amount of movement on every single the Bitcoin daily candle. Now, this is an average, but so far we can see that on average, Bitcoin tends to move between $1,600 to $1,700 per day. Now, this basically means that from the low to the high of the daily candle, it usually moves by $1,700, which also means that yesterday, right, if we take a look at the price when we were at this level over here, the low of the day was 63,600. The high of the day at the time was 65,100. Guess what? That is $1,600. So when you get close to that liquidity level, coupled with the fact that your daily volatility target has already been hit, coupled with the fact that you are very close to the end of the kill zone, that is the reason why, just because the price action, right? Just because the technicals line up, there are still other factors that you need to consider. And these are just some of the things that, I am not always able to share in every single YouTube video, although whenever I get an opportunity, I do. But these are some of the things, like if you didn't know about this before, well, guess what? If you work with us, then you're going to get access to the full picture, right? Just to give you an idea of what you might be missing. And this is not the only thing that, I cannot, humanly, reasonably cover within a YouTube video. But just to go back to today's trade, essentially, we're already getting quite close to the point where, when I looked at this 2 to 3 hours ago, you could still make an argument that this was going to be great, where basically you would bounce from this order block right here. But the fact remains that not only have you gotten a bearish CISD, but you've gotten 2 bearish CISDs. And right now, technically, you are now forming relatively equal lows, which, as I'm looking at this, probably means that, okay, A, this liquidity target is going to be taken out first before any sort of major movement. Secondly, just to touch on, what I talked about in terms of daily volatility, we can see that the higher the buy side liquidity over here was swept out just now prior to this dump. And thirdly, this is already quite a lot of daily volatility, right? We've already gotten close to $2,000 worth of movement. And fourth, we got double bearish CISDs, which is going against the daily bias. So today might actually just be a no trade, to be honest. Currently, if we zoom out a little bit, we can see that price is currently in a range. Range high is yet to be swept. Although if we consider this as the range, then yes, the range high has been swept. Potentially you're going for this range low for some sort of move towards the upside, potentially next week though. On the note of seeing multiple CISDs in a row, today's probably going to end up being a no trade. But if you do want to end up, going into some sort of a short, let's say you're not trading my system. And by the way, if this sounds like gibberish to you, one of the things that I look for when it comes to my system, and one of the reasons why I'm able to maintain such a high win rate, is because I only take trades where the daily bias, the hourly time frame, and the 5-minute time frame are all pointing in the same direction. At the moment, the 1 hourly is pointing down and the 5-minute is definitely pointing down, but the daily, you have a bullish daily bias. So right now, there's time frame misalignment. Usually on days like this, I tend to just not trade this asset, right? It doesn't mean that I'm not going to trade, period, but I'm just not going to trade this asset. So you've got a bunch of other assets that you can trade, and believe it or not, this system works on a ton of other assets. And sometimes my students even find that this system works even better on Forex or even indices. So give it a try if you haven't already. And also just diversifying your asset, selection is always a great way to not let yourself get into the point where, oh, because Bitcoin's the only chart that I'm looking at, regardless of what happens, because I've already put in time to kind of look at the chart, right? I've already put in effort. I'm going to, take a trade regardless, right? I'm looking for a trade regardless, even when there is no really good trade. So this is one of the reasons why you have other assets that you can look at, so that whenever Bitcoin is not looking great, guess what? You can always jump ship to another asset. And it just prevents you from, taking trades where there are basically none. And at the moment, there is none. Right now, we still haven't gotten this bearish CISD, but if we do get the bearish CISD, basically beneath this level right here, that's going to be the coffin in the nail. The nail in the coffin. To the people that are not trading my system and you don't really care about time frame alignment, well, the couple of trades that you could potentially look for is just a retracement back into this hourly fairly gap, or just any sort of momentum trade towards the downside. The daily target for today, I reckon, would be this low that we're very close to here, as well as this right here at 63,250. So either one of these, just look for a momentum trade towards the downside. To break it down in the 5-minute chart, super clear order blocks. You've got one over here, and as you break down here, you're going to get another one here. This is just momentum trading at its finest. Target 2R, I'm sure you'll be able to catch it. But me personally, I'm probably going to stay out of this. But either way, yesterday was an absolute banger. I got 10R in a single day. So I'm more than happy with that. I think I'm ending the month right now with 30R, which has been absolutely amazing considering how little we've been trading. But it's also again, I'm going to bring up this tweet from Vincent. Vincent is funded for multiple 6 figures, and he's already gotten multiple tens of thousands of dollars worth of payouts. And also, fun fact, he used to be an ex-professional poker player. So one of the things, before I get into what he was talking about here, just a heads up, if you play any sort of poker, or if you're a really big fan of poker, just understand that this is something that translates really well to trading, because they're basically the same game, right? With poker, you're always dealing with probabilities and uncertainty. Guess what? Trading, you're also dealing with probabilities and uncertainty. So if you have experience in poker and you are deciding you would like to replace the uncertainty, right? I would say trading is a whole lot better of a vehicle compared to poker because, well, you're not dealing with insane rakes and like you actually have a lot more hands that you can play. So if you have a poker background or if you're just interested, trust me when I say, in fact, Vincent himself said this, but essentially, if you are a poker player and you join bootcamp, you will be successful. Just like that. And I've already seen this happen with a couple of other poker players that ended up joining bootcamp. And this is in Vincent's own words, by the way. Like if you are a poker player or if you have a poker background and if you work with us, you are going to get funded just like that. You are going to go full time into trading. I'm going to link the podcast episode that I did with Vincent down in the description box below so you can hear it for himself. Anyways, just say this is just a follow up from this tweeter here, which is like, hey, having followed you for almost 2 years now, it's a valuable lesson to see how you traded this year compared to 2025, which explains why your win rate is so high. Less is more. I'm still over trading. I'm profitable, which also shows how powerful your system is. So if you take a look here, right, last year I was trading a lot more. Granted, last year, we had way better market conditions in a way because price was, quite trendy, at least for the majority of last year. Now this year, so far, like I've had a lot more videos at the very least, where I've been saying like, yeah, guys, this is a no trade day. And this is also one of the reasons why, even though this year has been horrendous in terms of market conditions, especially as Bitcoin's concerned, because we've been ranging for multiple months, I'm still able to have a positive win rate. But besides the win rate, I'm also still profitable overall. And it's just understanding that, yeah, pick and choose the best opportunities. That is your job as a trader. It's not to force any entries when they're not supposed to be. And to simply like go through your list of assets and pick the ones that are the highest probability. And if you keep it simple like that, and if you just think about trading like that, you're going to be successful. By the way, it's been a great week. It's been a great month. I'll see you guys next week. Ciao, ciao.